Hey, this will be part 2 of our fragments and run-ons video. In this one, I'm going to work through some examples of fragments and run-ons and different strategies for correcting them. If you haven't yet, go back, watch video 1. I explain a little bit more there. We're just going to jump right into some examples. So let me pull this up. Here we go. Just as a review, there are 4 ways to fix run-ons. Number 1, separate them with a period. Number 2, separate them with a semicolon. Number 3, create a compound sentence using a conjunction, or you can use a conjunctive adverb. Number 4, if you feel brave, create a complex sentence using a subordinating conjunction. We probably won't do much with number 4 because it's complex, but we will do a little bit of each of the first 3. So if you haven't yet, this would be a good thing to write down, to take a note of. If you need to, pause the video, because like I said earlier, I can't hear you if you tell me to slow down. So here are 4 ways to fix run-ons. With a fragment, there's really just one way: add what's missing. So let's just jump into the examples. Here's the first one. He went to the store, he bought a candy bar. Think about, does it seem more like a fragment? Does it seem more like a run-on? I'll tell you now, it's not right. There's something wrong with this. Hopefully you can see that this is a run-on. This is a run-on sentence. It's pretty obviously a run-on because it is long. It has lots of stuff there. More specifically, it's a run-on because it has 2 subjects and 2 predicates, and they're not properly joined together. All we have right now is this comma joining our 2 sentences. He went to the store, he bought a candy bar. So to fix this, we need to do something a little bit more than just a comma. If I want to keep the comma, I can add a conjunction, a coordinated conjunction. So let me write slowly the word and. He went to the store, comma, and he bought a candy bar. And once I add that conjunction, this is correct. I have corrected my run-on. He went to the store, comma, he bought a candy bar. Let's say I don't want to use a conjunction. What's another strategy I could use? Instead of a conjunction, I could just change this comma into a semicolon. And a semicolon looks like a comma, but has an extra dot above it. So there, he went to the store, semicolon, he bought a candy bar. In that case, I don't need to add a conjunction. In fact, I cannot add a conjunction. Adding a conjunction would be incorrect. So get another example. Having went to the store to buy food for dinner. It should feel incomplete. This is a fragment. It's actually missing a lot. Having went to the store to buy food for dinner. This is not expressing a complete thought, and it's also missing a subject. It's missing someone doing it, unless there's someone named having, which I guess is possible. Maybe John having, and here we're just referring to him as having. I don't think that's likely. So let's add a subject here. I'm actually going to take out having because it seems like it's making this more complicated than it needs to be, and I'll just put in a subject. I will put in John. There we go. John went to the store to buy food for dinner. Has a subject. I've added what was missing. I'm done. That's all I need to do here. When I went to the park to sit on the swings, think about, is this a fragment or a run-on? In this case, it is a fragment. It's a fragment because even though it has a subject, I, even though it has a predicate, went to the park to sit on swings, it is not expressing a complete thought. That when at the beginning is preventing it from expressing a complete thought. That when has a name. That is called a subordinating conjunction. And it's sort of crippling our sentence so that it needs something else to come along and finish the thought. So our sentence is depending on something else to express a complete thought. It's not expressing a complete thought on its own, and that's what makes it a fragment. Even though it has a subject, even though it has a predicate, this is still a fragment. So to finish this, I would need to finish the thought. When I went to the park to sit on the swings, it started raining. Add another sentence, really, to complete the thought. When I went to the park to sit on the swings, aliens invited. What happened when you went to the park to sit on the swings? That's how you're going to fix this fragment. Education is the key to success. You should always try your best. Fragment or run-on. It's not correct. I'll tell you that. It's not correct the way that it is. It is a run-on. It's very long, so you probably could have guessed that. But it's a run-on. Education is the key to success, comma, you should always try your best. And we had another example. The very first example we looked at was just like this, where you have two complete sentences and all you have joining them is one tiny, measly, puny, weak little comma. And that's actually, there's a specific name for that, which is comma splice. And the fact that it has a name should tell you that people make this mistake really often. So when you have two sentences, two complete sentences like this, they each have their own subject, they each have their own predicate. I need something more than just a comma to join them. In this case, I think a semicolon would work very well. Education is the key to success, semicolon, you should always try your best. I can use a semicolon because the words, the ideas of the two sentences are so closely related that I don't need to add a conjunction to make that relationship any more clear. Here's a few more I want you to do on your own. I'm not going to write these on the screen. Until she went to the library to study. First, fragment or run-on. And once you've identified it, go ahead and try to fix it. You can pause the video if you need to. So this is a fragment. Until she went to the library to study. It has a subject, it has a predicate, but just like the other fragment that we looked at, it is not expressing a complete thought. So we need to finish the thought. Until she went to the library to study, what would you put there? I maybe would put something like, until she went to the library to study, Alice was nervous about the test tomorrow. Until she went to the library to study, she had never been to a library before. I don't know. That seems kind of sad, but not impossible. A few more. Studying all night for the big test next week. Fragment or run-on, and then think about how I can fix it. This is another fragment. Studying all night for the big test next week. We're missing a subject. We're also missing a helping verb. We have an action, studying, in our predicate, but we don't have anybody doing the action. So we need to answer the question: who was studying or what was studying? Probably a who and not a what. But I don't want to constrain you. But in your correction of the sentence, we need to add a subject. Dr. Nick was studying all night for the big test next week. Don't ask me why I came up with that, but we need somebody to do the studying. Gustav was studying all night for the big test next week. We need somebody, or I could say Gustav is studying all night for the big test next week. Two more. Here's one more. Although Tom did his homework for a week, he failed reading class. He missed all of the other weeks. What's going on here? Fragment or run-on? I mean, it's obvious. This is a run-on. This is so obviously a run-on. You have three sentences just kind of lumped together into one mega sentence. It's gross. Please don't do that. Although Tom did his homework for a week, he failed reading class. He missed all of the other weeks. So actually, this although is a subordinated conjunction. And I know I keep saying we are not going to talk about it, and then it keeps showing up. But to fix this, actually, the first two sentences are fine as they are. Although Tom did his homework for a week, comma, he failed reading class. And I can do that because of the although, but I need to do something with this comma right here. I should probably just go ahead. You don't really want to have 3 clauses in one sentence. You can, but the more clauses you try to juggle, the more likely it is you're going to make some kind of a grammatical error. So how about instead of a comma here, I just put a nice clean break. I will put a big period. And if I make it a period, I obviously am going to need to capitalize the first letter of the next sentence. So he will become he. So although Tom did his homework for a week, he failed his reading class, period, capital H, he missed all of the other weeks. And our last example here, Janie couldn't stand Tammy. Even though Tammy didn't do anything, Janie was a mean person. Same as the one before. We have 3 clauses here. This is obviously a run-on. Probably when you have 3 clauses, the best thing to do is to just separate. Have one sentence with 2 clauses, have another sentence with just 1 clause. So here, I'm going to turn that first comma into a period, and I'm going to capitalize the E in even. There. Janie couldn't stand Tammy, period. Even though Tammy didn't do anything, Janie was a mean person. There we go. There are our examples. Couple fragment corrections, a couple run-on corrections. Obviously, you should do more practice on your own. You should have a worksheet. You should find a worksheet either that I've given you or that somebody else has given you, and do some more practice on your own. Because you can't learn grammar by watching somebody else do it. And I know I'm the one making the video, but you can't learn it just by watching somebody else do it. You have to do it yourself. So continue practicing. Watch this video once or twice to review, but I hope that this has been helpful for you.